What's up, everybody? This is Disco Demonic Hydrophonic. Today I want to talk about. So I posted on a shamanic group on Facebook, asking if anybody could kind of point me in the decent or right direction to. I've become interested in maybe studying some shamanic work, and a lot of them were saying magic. A lot of people were saying they know what's your definition of it. Obviously, I don't have a definition because I'm just starting to learn about it. Well, I didn't have a definition until I started reading a book by Sarah Ingerman, Awakening to the Spirit World, The Shamanic Path of Direct Revelation. It's an audiobook that I've been listening to, and actually, man, this book is really good. Personally, it resonates with me. Let me just say that. And I've heard a lot of good things about Sarah Ingerman. I did some research to see, and that's basically what I was doing when I posted on the board on the group. I want to do a little research and see what was going on, who suggested what. I had some good feedback, and some fucking retarded ass feedback, but you always get that shit. And so the reason I want to mention this today because it really resonates also with my story the second time I was enlightened when I was in San Antonio, Texas, and I was actually on the run from the law. And I was on the run for 3.5 years. They caught me. I took care of it. Everything's cool. But yeah, man, I had a very interesting experience at that time. The first time I had an enlightening experience, it was at a beach in South Padre Island, and also in Texas. And I was at the top of a sand dune. I looked out into the ocean, and as soon as I just saw where the horizon, where the sky and the ocean met, off in the distance, I had this moment of clarity. And as soon as I recognized the moment of clarity, it was just gone, right? And it was very short. It was very, very quick. But I remembered that moment. I just didn't know how to get it back. The harder I tried, the less I was able to, and I kind of just forgot about it. However, whenever I was in San Antonio, I had I had my second one. It was far more powerful, and actually, this one lasted a while. I was walking through. I think I was just tired and hungry. I was walking in the sun. I was walking through this neighborhood, and then all of a sudden I came upon this little bug was flying towards me. It was a little green bug. I remember him or her. And as soon as I saw the bug, I kind of moved out of the way of the bug, kind of dodged it, and then we became these two beings just experiencing each other, and I felt that the bug and me kind of became one in a way. And I was really tired and hungry. I hadn't eaten. I wasn't fasting on purpose. It was just something that happened, right? I was in a really bad spot at the time. When you're on the run, sometimes you're gonna go through some shit. So when that happened, man, the bug was about right here when I was walking. Then all of a sudden, I saw the earth from like I was in space, a real quick flash, I was in space and I saw the earth, and then I understood the universe just automatically, and I understood everything. And from that point on, it lasted for about maybe a month or something like that. And then after that, it dissipated to a certain degree, right? But I would see people walking around, and I would see them in this weird form. I would see their bodies, but their inner selves were these drones that were walking around, and I could see almost their spinal cords, and there was this deadness inside of them. They were living in this world where they didn't really know what was going on, and there was I hate to use this term, the rat race. They were just living their lives according to what I guess they were programmed, the way they were programmed to live their lives, and however you want to attribute that programming is up to you, be it religion, government, whatever, or both, or other things, other factors that all kind of play in together. I think it's a little bit of everything that kind of just takes them away from what really is happening. And in the shamanistic viewpoint, as far as I've read, is that, and this comes a lot from my background. I'm Hispanic, so I've heard this a lot, to sleep, to live is to sleep, and to die is to awaken, kind of a thing. It was kind of like that, However, you don't have to wait till you die before you can awaken, to a certain degree. And I think this also goes into with my studies with the all, like understanding the all, and like meditation, and actually it kind of links into mindfulness. Like when you recognize what's going on at this moment here and now, everything kind of becomes more powerful, and that's like what mindfulness now is, like so. All these different cultures have similar aspects of these things, right? Uh, and so when I went into after that, man, I would see people like this, and people would notice me more. Like I knew when I would get on the bus, people would like look at me and like do double takes and like just look at me, and not like they recognized me. I was very low key. I was on the run, right? So I'm probably gonna keep bringing that up because it was a crazy part of my life, man. But yeah, man, I was very low key, and they would see me and like do double takes and look at me, and like they saw something inside of me, and I just had this whole like my awareness was different. Like I could see everything in a different kind of way, and whenever I would go to work, I was working with this woman named Marta, and Marta would tell me she was a Mexican immigrant. She had come across the, whatever. Anyway, so she was telling me there was something different about me, and all the things that would normally piss me off weren't pissing me off. I was very like everything was just like whatever. It wasn't like, but not in a negative sense. I just understood everything in a different way, to where like things that seemed so important, not even like a day or two before, were just trivial to a certain degree. I understood that I had to go to work and so I can like make money and eat and things like that, so I could pay my rent and shit. But it wasn't like I wasn't so stressed out about everything. If the boss is yelling at me, it was cool. I would do what he would say. However, it wouldn't stress me out the way before. Like before, I want to stab the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But now I was more cool with it. Like it was very, very. It was a really cool experience, and that slowly dissipated. And when I would try to tell people about this, it would something would happen. Like the universe would tell me they're not going to understand. Like it was just really weird. Things would. I remember I was trying to tell a friend of mine, Ted, when I was trying to explain to him like what had happened. Something would happen. Something like a customer would come in, or something would always just kind of like happen to where I couldn't tell him the experience that I had. And then when I was able to finally tell him about the experience, he said that it was something that he had read in a book that was very similar to like what the Buddha had gone through. And so I just always felt that he thought that I was full of shit about it. That I had read the book, and like I was just kind of, because I remember we were in his car and he was like, "You never read that book, right?" So I think he thought that I read the book, and I was just kind of like full of shit, which is cool. It's understandable, But it was something that really happened. So it was. And eventually it died away. I got caught, blah, 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 all that kind of shit. Anyways, when I was listening to this book by Sarah Engerman, one of the things she talks about is seeing, forgiving, and blessing. Now, seeing, what you do when you're seeing is like you kind of sit, you can be meditative or whatever, and think back to a time when you did something when you were a kid, or a time that was a long time ago. She used kid. Like you did something foolish, and you remember how bad you felt about that thing at that time, and it has to be something you've forgiven yourself for. Like, so if you still feel bad about it, don't use this example. Think of something else. Or something. For me, I don't remember what I had used. It was there was a lot of stuff I did as a kid that was really stupid. So it was pretty easy for me to find something, and I don't remember what it was. I can find something else right now. But so you go back and you think about how now in your current state of being, how foolish of a thing that was. But you were a kid, it was such a long time ago, and it's really easy to forgive yourself. You actually kind of chuckle about it. I just remembered the first thing I ever stole when I was a kid was a little GoBot, a little bitty transformer from a Wieners in Georgetown, Texas, man, that my grandma had taken me to. And that's like, there's a whole story behind that. I won't get into it. So anyways, that's what I remembered. And it was like funny. It's funny to me now because I was a little kid. I was stupid, blah, 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 right? So this is what you do in order to kind of create this base. Like, you think back in that time, and you've forgiven yourself. It was a long time ago. You've grown so much since then, and this is called seeing. So what you do is you do the same thing or the opposite thing, however you want to rationalize this in your mind, and you go into the future and look at yourself now, or things that you feel bad about now, and then see yourself from then to now, if that makes any sense. So then you're gonna think to yourself like, I was foolish, I was a kid, and like, or whatever, like, hey man, I was middle age, I didn't know anything then. I've learned so much since then. I've grown so much since then. And you're doing this like in a future kind of way. You're looking back on yourself to now, right? And so when you do this, you're able to forgive yourself for things that are happening now. You're like, hey man, you know what? It's not that huge of a deal. I'm gonna make it through this kind of a thing. And so seeing, forgiving. So what you do is you see, then you forgive, and then there's the aspect of blessing. Now the blessing thing is whenever I'm sure a lot of people have heard like when shamans talk about everything is alive, all this kind of stuff. And I'm gonna equate some of this to a movie, Star Wars. I'm sure everybody's fucking seen this movie. So it's Star Wars where he talks about the Force and shit. They talk about the Force, it's in everything. Because this is kind of what it goes into. When you bless something, so you have to do all these three things. These three things work in tandem. And this kind of reminds me of some gnosis that I got last night. But it's seeing, forgiving. So you have to be able to see and forgive in order to bless. You can't just do that. So whenever a lot of people think, and I'm using some of her words from the audio book, so that's why I mentioned her book. I don't want to steal anybody's information. I'm using a lot of this. I'm applying it to my own life experience. So she was saying that like a lot of people think that you have to be some sort of ordained minister or some sort of like go through some sort of seminary or school or some shamanistic voyage in order to bless things. But she's saying that every human being has this ability, that it's something that we all have within us. So when you bless something, what it really is you're not like saying, oh, you're giving this whatever, you're giving anything any kind of power. What you're doing is you're actually recognizing the energy and the energy within everything it is that you're blessing. So everything has this universal energy in it. And this goes back to whenever I was in San Antonio. I remember I called everything the universal flow. And it's because I could just feel the universe. It was flowing through everything. We were all part of the universe. Nothing is the same ever. Everything is always changing. If for me being the same thing from like now, from when I started this fucking video, I'm different because time has passed, because the earth is spinning, because I have moved through space like so many thousand miles or hundreds of miles or whatever. Like we're moving on this ball, and like we're spinning around the sun. And like all kinds of things are going on, so nothing is the same. I'm not in that same place that I was when I started this video, or maybe the second or third time you even watched this video. If you have something like this pencil, this pencil right here, it's a graphite lead holder. It's different from like when I had used it yesterday. It's totally different. Time has passed. It's aged. I've aged. It's a totally different tool now. Obviously, it still has the parameters that it had when I used it. I can still use it in that sense, but it's totally different, right? So this is the universal flow. Everything's always changing, always like just moving and things like that. Energy, and so we're all energy, and so energy is constantly in flux. It's constantly moving. So even us, we're not the same as maybe there's some energy transfer happening. I'm not really there yet. So. That's the thing with blessing. When you bless something, it's actually you realize the importance that it has within the universe. That it's all part of the universe, that it's all part of the energy. And so that's what it's like. It's part of the all. Now there's a little prayer she talks about you could say or whatever. But I don't think I need to get into all that. That's kind of like more her stuff. I'm not gonna like, say any of her prayers. I took some notes here, so let me see. I think that's probably pretty good is like what I wanted to say. So you can also like she talks about eventually you get to a point where like you realize that you're in spirit, and this goes with the all that I've talked about before. I think we're all energy, we're all part of the universe, we are all just this part of the all, and so that's the spirit. So we're all part of spirit. So when you bless something, you're just recognizing that aspect of everything and you. Sorry if I repeated myself. Sorry if this video has gotten a little bit long. I also got some new shit for my beard, man. My beard's getting longer. For those of you who don't give a fuck, stop the video because I'm going to be feeling myself for a little bit. I'm digging the beard. I really like it. So thanks for watching. I'll make more videos later.